Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. My name's GBay99. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Today, we're back with another League of Legends gameplay commentary, where today we have a bit of a review, a bit of a VOD review, where I'm going to be taking this replay that I had in a ranked game earlier today, somewhere around Diamond 5, and looking at the things I do right, the things I do wrong. In yesterday's video, we announced that we're going to be doing a Road to Master next season, and I know currently I am not good enough to get to Master, so I'm going to start right away on working on improvements for what I can do better, emphasizing my strengths, working on my weaknesses, and part of that is being able to look back and see the mistakes that you make. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We are obviously playing Aurelia in the top lane up against a Yorick. We have a pretty nice team that's relatively standard, except for a Sona mid lane. The enemy team is similar. They have a relatively standard team, although they do have a Shaco jungle and a Fiddlesticks mid lane, Fiddle in the middle. But overall, this was a really fun game. It was one of those games that keeps you on the edge of your seat with a lot of back and forth play with good plays and bad plays, so we're going to go back and look through all of it through my perspective, starting right now. Kicking things off, you guys have been watching the laning phase so far, and not too much has happened. I've poked a little bit back and forth with Yorick in lane, but Shaco comes top lane for a gank where this is the first early bit of action that happens. I do my best to save my flash because I know Shaco can come top lane and camp me a lot. He might be spending a lot of time top lane in fear that Lee Sin will camp Yorick, since Yorick doesn't have any sort of movement abilities to get away from ganks, obviously, so I'm a little bit worried about him coming top lane, and I decide to save my flash. That's the first little bit of action that we have, and I think it's a pretty good decision to save the flash. Right here, Lee Sin comes top lane to try and help me out a little bit, but he doesn't end up getting a successful gank off as Yorick runs away right as he gets near. The next bit of action that happens is something that I'm actually kind of curious about whether this is a good or bad thing that I do. I do this a lot. You guys probably see it on stream. You saw that Yorick just teleported to lane right there, and instead of backing and teleporting back to lane myself, I go for some harass. Most of the time I do this, it works out. I go for harass in this situation, so he has to pop all of his charges of his corrupting potion, then I can come back to lane. He doesn't have too much to heal up with. I have a bit of an edge with sustain, and I can eventually pick a good fight that ends up getting me an early kill in the laning phase. This is an instance where it worked out, but it doesn't always work out. Sometimes I just end up getting myself killed to a jungle gank or something if I don't have wards or whatnot, so I'm not too sure if that's a smart play, but it worked out in that situation. Following that, Yorick does his best to try and CS, but I do my best to zone him and harass as much as possible up until he hits level 6. As soon as he hits 6, he throws down a very early ultimate signifying a Shaco gank, so I back off immediately and then recall the base, and then the worst little bit of action that really sets our team behind happens, where Lee Sin gets caught out in his jungle as Shaco rotated to try and steal his red buff or something, and Lee Sin ends up dying to Yorick, where he did get a Yorick flash, but that isn't the worst of it. Sona then goes in and tries to 2v1 the Shaco and Fiddlesticks, where she misses her ultimate. I flash in to get a kill on Shaco, and then I'm kind of sticking around because I see they're here, and I don't want to let them take this red buff for free. In hindsight, I should have just let them take this red buff. I thought we were 2v2 and we could maybe fight this, but Fiddlesticks gets a very good ultimate off, and Sona not having her ultimate, we are obviously crippled and we lose the fight. Following that, I make a pretty big mistake in trying to take this top tower even when Yorick gets up here, and he throws down a really nice W that catches me. I don't have my flash. I don't really have any way to get out of here, and because he had his ultimate up still, I end up dying to him. That was a pretty bad mistake that really starts to set me on tilt, if I'm being honest. So I start leaving top lane. I go for a TP gank bot lane, where I'm going to be able to get this Lulu to flash and get a kill on her, but that might not have been worth it. She might have just died to that Sona anyway. I really got upset that I had the early lead on Yorick and everything, and I just sort of threw it away with my team in the jungle there. So, you know, I'm a little bit upset here. Yorick ends up taking the top tower, and then we decide to trade it for bot. I think that early jungle mess that just happened in our jungle really did set a lot of us on tilt, not just me. So it's a little bit shaky for our team from this point onwards, but we do our best to at least keep even with stuff like this. I then rotate to mid lane from bot to try and see if I can help my team out more without having to try and go in 1v1 Yorick. Fiddlesticks ends up killing our Caitlyn before I get there, though, unfortunately, and then Yorick TPs here. Now, we go for the TP on Yorick because we think that he doesn't see Lee Sin. He's making a bad, overly aggressive TP, but his team from the bot lane then comes up to help him out. We get some kills here. We get the kill onto Yorick, and that might actually be the only one that we get, while 4 of us die on our team, which is, it's obviously a pretty bad mistake that sets us behind even more. After that, Yorick does something very, very frustrating and goes for a non-stop split push with his ultimate, where he has has something insane like 7 kills, so I feel like I can't 1v1 him anymore. He's constantly BMing and just overall being a jerk to our team, so I go top lane to try and deal with him, where I'm trying to defend it under tower, because I feel like I can defend the tower under tower if it's only me and him. It's not only me and him, though. Shaco comes top lane. He ends up going aggressive on me. Shaco does a good job letting his clone tank the tower, and I have to flash away. And then a kind of interesting thing happens. Yorick, instead of going for the wild goose chase, lets me go up into the top lane brush and recall. Shaco leaves and comes after me, so I'm ready for him to come and try and kill me. He does. I'm able to kill him, but because he took Ignite, I end up dying as well as Yorick continues his split push, but Thresh eventually fights him off, saving the tower for now. Now, as I'm sure you guys can probably tell by this point, the theme of this game up until now has been our team playing from behind due to those early bad fights that set this Yorick off on a massive killing spree along with the rest of their team. Here he comes top lane. I make the mistake of trying to 1v1 him, thinking that my minions can help me kill him, but he has his ultimate there, which obviously helps him deal a lot of damage to me. And I think overall this is the big problem that I have as a player in terms of my micro game, in terms of my decision making when going for kills and everything. I have a tough time surrendering, choosing not to fight, and just letting my team play from behind, which constantly has me going for stupid 1v1 kills like that I really shouldn't be going for, and this is something that I definitely need to fix if I'm going to climb any higher than low diamond. Following my mistake top lane, we decide to rotate mid lane because I can't really 1v1 the Yorick anymore, but he decides to rotate mid as well. We get a nice little catch onto him where he's getting way too aggressive, and we end up forcing him to blow his flash, which is pretty important considering that he is on a massive killing spree. Being able to lock him down and get that killing spree gold will be really nice as soon as we're able to. But we make a mistake. We haven't actually gotten any kills here, but we feel like we're outnumbering the enemy. We go for the mid tower where Fiddlesticks then ults in on us. I do my best to just stun him as I die, letting my teammates hopefully get away, but that's another mistake that is only barely evened out by Caitlyn 1v1ing Lucian bot lane. Now, following that, I decide to go bot lane and try and deal with the Shaco split push because that's all he's really been doing all game, and this is the one little saving grace our team has. They have a very bad team composition with the Shaco, and we're able to deal with his split push since we have our teleport. Now, I'm down here. I think that Shaco probably is left. I'm just clearing out minions here as my team hopefully 4v4s mid, where he pops out of the brush. I go for the kill on him. He doesn't realize how good of a 1v1er Aurelia is, and I'm able to get the kill. Shaco isn't really that good in team fights. He's typically best with his 1v1s, so it's kind of understandable for him to do that. I can just 1v1 better on Aurelia. I continue the split push bot lane until Shaco shows up and ends up killing me, but at this point it's kind of alright because this is going to let our team take the free Baron. I thought it was only Lulu bot lane. I didn't consider the Shaco recalling. I'd seen everyone else on the map, so I thought I was safe, but because he ends up going bot lane, we are able to capitalize on that mistake, so my death isn't in vain. We get a very important objective in the Baron, and we're able to start swinging the game around at this point. After our team took that Baron, I suddenly have a huge boost of confidence that we're going to be able to pull out this game and win it, and I am not on tilt anymore. I am ready and focused to try and get a kill, win the game here. Now, we get the Lulu to just pop her ultimate and exhaust, and I back off a little bit, but then I immediately go in after seeing that they are very, very low. We can get some kills here. We get a catch onto the Fiddlesticks where he then Zhonya's. I end up chasing all of them, stringing a nice series of Qs together. Yorick shows up a little too late to the team fight where I'm going to be able to chase him down, use my flash, get a quadra kill, and you guys know what's coming up next. I use the Baron recall to base quickly, buy a couple armor items, deal with the Shaco split push bot lane, trying to get that kill before he ends up having a teammate respawn and I lose the Penna. He doesn't get away, we get a Penna kill, and that is a very nice way to turn this game around. After my Penna, I continue split pushing bot lane to try and take this turret finally, which ends up being a pretty huge mistake as Shaco has respawned, ran around, and was waiting in the brushes for me, where Lulu again comes and they 2v1 kill me. It's starting to get a little bit ridiculous how often I split push and die. This might just be because I've been playing a lot of Quinn where I'm often able to get away with my ultimate, but the fact that I'm constantly dying and losing Baron buffs, losing a lot from these split pushes needs to be something that I fix when I'm not playing Quinn at least. I end up teleporting to their base as my team is team fighting them by the time I respawn. I'm able to take one turret low enough where the minions are going to be able to finish it off, but Lucian does get the recall there and able to stop the ports. I make a little bit of a mistake in going and trying to kill him where I probably could have taken the tower lower or maybe set up so the minions could take the other tower. Instead of going on a wild goose chase trying to kill him, I end up getting away safely and forcing Yorick to teleport back to base, which is pretty good as my team has a little bit of a 3-for-2. We lose a small team fight, but by the way, we've opened up their their base. It's not too important at this point. Overall, looking back at this game, I feel like this is a pretty good example of how sometimes I have mixed results throughout games when playing ranked. I'm able to teamfight pretty well, baiting out abilities, going for kills, locking down targets, and finishing off carries pretty frequently, I feel like. Sometimes even going so far as getting a pentakill, at least when I'm playing someone like Aurelia. But I certainly have way too many deaths of me getting caught out in unnecessary spots, and also just getting tilted from mistakes of bad team fights in the early game that can really be punished a lot harder if I'm playing up against players who are a lot better than Diamond 5s. So these are issues that I'm going to have to work on, but for now, I'm able to have enough good moments, at least, that we're still able to get these wins in low Diamond. Hopefully, we'll be able to fix these problems and keep the trend of moving on upwards. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed watching today's video. I'll see you all tomorrow, but until then, thank you very much for watching, good luck in solo queue, and have a wonderful day.